Alright, this is Chat UTD. I haven't done a reaction to the final in Bilbao because I've been moving house, hence the slightly different surroundings, and hence why it's quite echoey in this room. When we get everything sorted out, it won't be as echoey. It'll have curtains, and behind me around here there'll be much more Man United paraphernalia because this is an actual specified room for this purpose. So you have to bear with the echoey sound. Today hopefully be better in the future. Let's look at the final in Bilbao and a bit of a review of the season in general, because obviously it was the final game of the season today, and I'll come back to that. On the day of the final, I did a video saying that we needed to suspend reality. We needed not to look at the immediate past, not to look at the immediate future, just live the final. It's a big game. Now it's time to consider the implications of that defeat. It was a bad night. It was a night where I thought it was quite a limp performance from the team. I'm not going to go into too much analysis of it, but all the way through, I wasn't worried. I just thought at some point we'll throw caution to the wind, go for it. We were patiently probing. I thought we were moving Tottenham around. We were the better team. I thought Tottenham were so crap, they'll cave, and Tottenham have been so poor defensively this season. But it went on, it went on, it went on. I'm thinking, even with 5 minutes to go, I was thinking, we're going to score. I wasn't worried. But then it felt like the players never got the memo that right now we've only got 2 minutes to go or whatever, we've got to go for it. And this club's full of moments where it's do you stick or twist, and we always twist. But particularly in a scenario like that, you've got to twist. And I never felt like they really did. So a bad night against a poor team, two poor teams contesting a final that they probably could scarcely believe they got to. For me, losing that game probably means the first steps into the abyss for Man United. I say that because we are not in Europe next season. I'm not sure the money that we'd have got from the Champions League would have gone into the squad development anyway, but it certainly can't now because we're not in it. We haven't got any money, we're skinned. We already have a poor squad, poor team, loads of work needs doing to it. How do you do that when you haven't got any money? There's not many sellable assets in that team, and the ones that are sellable you probably want to keep. So I think it could be the first steps into the abyss, and by the abyss I mean either a continuation of this type of season and then it'd be season in, season out like this, or ultimately, maybe, worst case scenario, as some people would see it, is relegation. And you might think, come on, that's a bit unrealistic, but I wouldn't be arrogant about it. We won today, obviously, so we've got 42 points and we finished 15th, but we're not improving, I don't think, certainly we might improve a bit over the summer, but we're not improving massively. So as I say, the way I see it going in the future is a continuation of this, or maybe even worse. And what actually looks like your worst case scenario, relegation or a continuation of this, actually could be the best case scenario if it means the Glazers leave. Because the Glazers are only at Man United to take money, and they only have ever been at Man United to take money. And they will not make money out of Man United if we continue to fail at this level that we're at now. And we could improve by 5, 6, 7 places next season, and they're still not going to make any money out of it. In which case, at some point, they'll go. And I'd take that. I hope it doesn't take too long, but I'd take that. Because that's the only way this club can re-emerge. We are going nowhere under this ownership model, and I include Ineos in that, but particularly with the Glazers at the helm. The club's finished as a serious club. A serious club pays for its staff and its families to go to Bilbao for a major final. A serious club doesn't plan a barbecue at Carrington if we'd have won. It has a fancy banquet somewhere. You know, a proper club doesn't look at deals like Alvaro Fernandez going to Real Madrid and maybe we might pocket 5 or 10 million pounds, and they're rubbing their hands together. Ooh, we could add that to the coffers. A serious club doesn't give a shit about 5 or 10 million pounds. It's small change. this is not the precursor to a comeback. It's not the precursor to success. It's finished. It's finished at United. Mark Goldbridge, not everybody's cup of tea, said something on the night that we lost against Spurs. Perfect synopsis, in my opinion. He said, those around us are getting richer and better, and we are getting poorer and worse. And it's absolutely spot on. Couldn't have said it any better myself. So, as I said, I think it's the first steps into the abyss, and maybe longer term, maybe that's a good thing, because it means we can get rid of them cretins that own the club. Looking at Amorim, it was a big night for him, as I mentioned in the preview video, and he failed on every level, really. I wouldn't have picked Mason Mount, and it didn't work, and he needed to come off earlier. And as I said about stick or twist, with 20 minutes to go, put wingers on in the wing-back positions, put Garnacho on the left and put Ahmad on the right, get Xerxes in behind, maybe you have to just keep Højlund on, have Bruno a bit deeper, and just throw everything at it. And I never felt like we did that. Spurs weren't attacking, and we pretty much were playing with 5 at the back. And Amorim's quite a positive manager. I think he's quite an attacking manager. But he's young as well, and I think on the big occasion he froze a little bit on the night. And I really like him. I've said it before. I think of all the managers United have had over the last few years, he's the one that I really think there's something about him, and I really want him to do well. I want all managers to do well, but there's something about him. I like the cut of his jib. But we've got to be honest, it's been an absolute disaster so far for him. And, you know, we won today, well, it doesn't matter. We finished 15th in the table. We haven't put back-to-back wins together all season. I read today, I think, that there's only 2 times in our history that's happened. And one of them was 1921 or something like that. So I think he starts the season, I don't necessarily think he's on thin ice, but he certainly doesn't start in a massively strong position, and he needs to make at least half decent start. As he said himself the other week, can't carry on like this on goodwill and vibes and you know, saying the right things. And in an ultimate test, he failed, didn't he? So it was a sobering night for him as well. Speaking of which, all the best. I think in the summer, I said a while ago, I think Garnacho's going to go. That's pretty much been confirmed, hasn't it? I'm going to say it. There's something about Mainu. Mainu gives me a touch of the Rashfords. I think there's a touch of the Rashford about Mainu. I look at the lad, I look at his body language, and I think it's a bit too much, it's a bit too soon. And I think because we're starved of any oxygen at United, and we've got a player here who looks like he could be something, and he's a local lad as well, we don't get many of them these days, we've all gone way over the top with him too early. And I think it could be a confidence thing, I could be wrong. It could be that next season we see a different player, or in a season or two's time we see a different player. But in days gone by, we could have taken that chance. We could have said, let's nurture him, let's throw our arms around him, or let's give him a kick up the arse, whatever we need to do. He's a young player from the area who plays for Man United and, you know, appears to love the club. But we're not in days gone by. We're skint. And if we've got sellable assets, they'll sell them. I wouldn't be surprised if Mainu's not here next season. I'd be stunned if Garnacho is here next season. And I'm not convinced Bruno will be here either. With that money that's on the table, Joel Glazer doesn't turn down 120 million quid for a 31-year-old. He just doesn't. So You've got that, and then what have we got? Probably about an £80 million budget. You've got those sales and then an £80 million budget, something like that. You've got, obviously, hopefully get a bit of money for Anthony, although I heard the other day we still owe money on his deal, so we can't necessarily sell him. We might have to loan him again. Crazy. Sancho might get, I don't know, 15, 20 for him. Rashford maybe 30 if we're lucky. There's some knock-on money that we're going to get from Mason Greenwood because I think his team's qualified for the Champions League. Get the wages of Lindelof and Eriksen off the books, and Johnny Evans, not that was probably much anyway, but so you maybe generate an extra 50, 60. You know, maybe you could end up generating, if Bruno goes and Mainu and Garnacho, you could end up generating about 250 million, but there's no guarantee that that would all go on squad development because of the money that we already own and how skint we are. So I say proper clubs don't talk like this, don't think like this. One of the big problems at United is the fans and their acceptance. There's a big of mediocrity. There's a big difference between getting behind the team and not appearing to be a slaptass, or not being a slaptass, and just calling stuff out and saying that is acceptable, it's not good enough, and channel that at the place it needs to be channeled to, which is the owners. They're responsible for all of this, all of it, and they've made terrible decisions over a period of time. I'm not going into it again now. It's another video. You know what I think about them. I despise them, particularly the Glazers, the scum. And if we had better owners, we wouldn't be where we are now. So the apathy that goes towards, that there is towards the situation is unbearable as a United fan myself. I've said it before, said it more than a year ago. The Glazers would not be the owners of Liverpool for any longer than 2 or 3, 5 years maximum. They wouldn't be for most clubs. United fans are beyond passive. It's not easy. It's not easy to remove owners. It's incredibly difficult. Some things are worth fighting for. And there's not the stomach for the fight. There's not the stomach to compromise. There's not the stomach to sacrifice. So it'll just carry on and carry on and carry on. And as I say, in the end, the club will swallow itself up. We'll end up continuing to finish in mediocre positions like we are now, or they'll get relegated, which I think is more likely to be the former. And they'll have to go anyway in the end, because they won't be making any money out of the club, even if Old Trafford's full every week. This story's now about sponsors not wanting to renew, or certainly giving a lot less money than they normally would. Good. I think that's really good. The more the club struggles, the more it's likely that the Glazers go. Which you can call that a conundrum. I don't see it as a conundrum. I want us to do well, but if we don't do well, the blessing of that is that it's a step closer to them leaving, which is what we need. Looking at the season, just as a quick overview, probably do a proper one at some point, but I mean, it's been hideous. For Man United to finish with 42 points in a modern era is outrageous. And a complete encapsulation and culmination of how poorly this club has been run for such a long period of time. It's disgusting, and I'm disgusted by that. It's unfathomable. It really is, that we've been so bad this season. The best player for me has been Fernandes, I'd say. I've really enjoyed De Ligt. I think he's been good. Mazraoui's been very steady. Promising youngsters like Yoro. Aiden Heaven looks good. The worst performers of the season, Højlund, dreadful. Terrible season. And a lot of the others have just been underachieving, or maybe not, maybe just mediocre, maybe just not good enough. But the one that stands out is Højlund. I'm not wanting to personalise it, I'm just being honest. I think he's been terrible this season. And again, a product of the mistake that the club have made by paying so much money for him when he wasn't ready to do the job that he's been asked to do. And now you're stuck with him. So I'm pretty calm about the situation. I have to say, as disgusted as I am, I'm pretty calm about it because, as I said at the start, I'll circle right back around then and I'll leave you to your evening. The worse it gets, the more chance that the Glazers are going to leave. So, that's the silver lining. I'm interested to see what happens with Amorim next season, because when Ten Hag won the FA Cup last year, I was in no doubt he should still go, because he'd had 2 years at United, and I could see he's not the right person for the job. Ineos didn't want him either. Even if I really liked him as a manager, it's obvious the new owners didn't want him, or the new people running the football side of things didn't want him. And in that case, you've got to get rid of him. You've openly had your cock out for other managers, so you can't then go back. This is very different. The guy's been there. I know that in some clubs he would get sacked. At Real Madrid, he'd get sacked, no doubt about it. At Barcelona, he would. Maybe even, City wouldn't be in the position that we're in, but maybe even other clubs. But the guy's had six months in difficult circumstances, but he's pretty much done as badly as he could have done. So I know with the Glazers, if they were calling the shots, he'd be fine for a while. But with Ineos, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure that they won't do something stupid at the start of next season if he doesn't start very well. And I don't know how he does start well, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. So I'd love to see us build something, because this is as bad as it gets. So if you call this rock bottom, maybe it's not. But if it is, and when you build back up again with Amorim, I don't think it could happen with a better guy at the helm. And that was the story at Sporting Lisbon. But this is very different. This is Man United. I just think that next season will be much more of the same. Ineos could surprise me. I'm going to leave you with this. Ineos could surprise me and go balls out this summer and just go, do you know what? Fuck it. Let's just load more debt or whatever. We'll do what we need to do. We need to go and get Gyökeres. We need to go and get Cunha. We need to go and get a proper right wing back. We need to go and get 2 defensive midfield players. We need to go and get at least one player to play in behind the main striker. Have I already said a striker? Oh yeah, Gyökeres. We need a new goalkeeper. They could do that. Sell the players that I mentioned before. Sail close to the wind with FFP, and I'd go another stick or twist moment. I'd go, you know what, at least they've twisted, at least they've gambled. Ain't gonna happen. I've always said it, and I'm going to include Ineos with the Glazers now. I've always said if there's a Glazer option or an exciting option, United will always go with the Glazer option, and the Glazer option will always be underwhelming. And the 2 options in the summer are what I predict will happen, which is a really underwhelming summer where we hardly do anything and there's no money to spend, or what I just suggested then. There's no doubt in my mind it'll be the underwhelming one. Okay, hopefully the backdrop will be a bit different next time, and hopefully the acoustics will be better in this room if we get some curtains, something like that. Need to unpack some more boxes to get my United paraphernalia up. Cheers, good to be back with you. Glazers out.